welcome or welcome back to Beauty Bees. It's been a really long time since we've done any kind of eyeshadow panning. I was doing pan those eyeshadows last year, but somewhere around the middle of the year, the updates just kind of stopped, and I decided I didn't want to do pan those eyeshadows again this year. I did that project the last 3 years. I also decided that I didn't really want to pan a palette. That just sounds very tiresome. I feel like I would be pretty sick of those eyeshadows towards the end of the year, and I know that I'm slow at panning eyeshadows. So it might be that I was really sick of them and not even seeing progress. So I decided instead to do something that was a little bit in between the two. So I went into my single shadows collection and I pulled 12 eyeshadows that I'm going to work on through the year. So let me show you my little palette. Right now I have 5 mattes and 7 shimmer shadows. These are good size, like standard eyeshadow pans. If you got a single from MAC or ColourPop or ABH, they would fit here in this palette. And I don't want to finish any of these shadows. I want to hit pan in these shadows, and then once I hit pan, move them back into my larger magnetic palettes and choose another shade to work on. Now I suspect that I will have a lot better luck hitting pan in these 7 shimmery shadows. I tend to be very light with my matte eyeshadows. I don't use a lot. I don't need a lot of product to show up because my skin is pretty fair, and I figured that I would start out with these 5 matte shades, and I figured that I could switch these out as time went on as well and get some use on a nice range of my matte singles. So let's go through these shadows. So the first column of shadows that I have are Sweet Tooth from Luxie, which is a white to pink gold iridescent shade. I have Ube, again from Luxie Beauty, which you guys, I believe, are seeing a strong green shift. In person, I'm seeing like a pinky purple. And then on the bottom is this shimmery peach shade from Wet n Wild. This shade doesn't have a name. It is one that I depotted from a larger palette. Next up, we have a sort of lilac gray with some pink to it, which is from that same Wet n Wild palette. We have Foxy Lady from Luxie, which is one of my favorite neutral wear any day kind of shades. And then we have Adonis, again from Luxie Beauty, which is what I'm wearing today. It's mixed with a couple of other shades, in particular like a almost teal from ColourPop, but straight on it looks very blue silver, but when I'm getting light from above, like when I was in the restroom, it kind of surprised me that this looked very, very green and incredibly glittery. So definitely a fun set of shades. I feel like swatched out, these 3 shades look more cohesive than they do in the palettes, but I really do like them. With the next column, we start getting into the mattes. So we have Time to Celebrate from Sydney Grace, which is a little bit on the terracotta side. I am wearing just a hint of this in my crease today. We have Bonfire, again from Sydney Grace, which is a very cool toned, almost gray brown. And then at the bottom, we have Glass Bowl from ColourPop. This is the last shimmer that I have in this palette, and it is a blue blue-brown shade, but it is definitely a lot lighter than, say, the Wet n Wild blue-brown that we all used to have in that Comfort Zone palette. And then for those last three mattes, we have Contemplate from Copacetic. That is not showing up very well on camera, but I can see it quite well in person. This always looks really kind of gross in a swatch. It looks a little bit chalky and too light, but on the eye, this is such a pretty crease shade, especially for like late winter and into spring. It's something just fun and unexpected. I think it would probably look pretty ashy on someone who had a deeper skin tone, but on me, it's surprisingly easy to wear. Then we have Simplicity from Sydney Grace. This is also a cool toned brown, but this is more of a mauve cool tone brown. It's also a bit deeper than Bonfire was. And then last we have the Next Chapter from Sydney Grace, which is a reddish brown. I don't think I did a very good job of taking off Glass Bowl before I tried to swatch this shade. The last shade is the Next Chapter from Sydney Grace. This is a very reddish brown. In the pan, I think it's bordering on just being a burgundy red. In a swatch, I can definitely see a lot more of that brown coming through. And in case you're interested, here is a nice mixture of Glass Bowl and the Next Chapter, which is also a very pretty shade, but not a great demonstration of what the Next Chapter would actually look like. So that is the palette that I'm going to be working on. I will keep track of how many times I use each individual shade, and I will probably aim for monthly updates. If I get to mid-February and I just don't have any pan to show, or I feel like I'm not making the kind of progress that I want to see, I might just make the executive decision to put off the next update until mid-March. But I think that I am probably not too far away from pan on a few of these different shades. In particular, this peach does not have a ton of product in it. It is only half filled maybe, and certainly towards the center seems to be very thin. This Adonis shade is very flaky. I feel like I pick up a lot of product every time I use it. And yeah, really those are the two that I think I have a decent chance of hitting pan on. I think that anything else would be a bit further in the future. But I'm excited for this. I think this will be a fun project. Hope you're along for the ride. Consider liking and subscribing if you are, and I hope I'll see you all in the next one. Bye guys!